All right, my rust bucket. My good old rust bucket. Well, we changed the whole loader setup last time. Cross drill slotted. They're not rusting, so that's good. Maintain them. So today we're gonna do the neutral safety switch. Right? Neutral safety switch is right here. Right behind this box. So we gotta remove this 10mm bolt right there. This one down here. This one right here. And the cover will come off. Right? Reason why I'm switching it, because when I try to start the car, jeez. Ooh, these need to change. It's a lower control arm. You can see the little bushing is giving way right here. So we need to change that. The winter is coming in New York, so you know. This car was sitting for a while, so you can see how it has done to that. But yeah, this will gotta be done in this vehicle right now. So in order to change the lower control arm, we'd have to get this bolt out down here. So it connects all the way over. Gotta get out this bolt right here. This one right here. Gotta get that out. Once I get that out, go down here, take off the fork right there. Lower control arm up on it there. Yeah, all that good stuff. All that good stuff. But let's target. This is the piece we need to change for today. That's the culprit today. All right, so let's get it. Oh, we need a 10mm. So 10 or 12. 10 for the cover. All right. Alright. Stop being lazy and get this over with. Alright. So this is the replacement switch that we gotta, this replacement switch. Right? This is the bad boy. Original Honda. So let's see how we can get this replaced. This whole setup, camera setup. All right, let's see. Where's my extensions? Need to arrange this damn toolbox better. All right. Let's get out this 10mm. 10mm for the cover. Definitely need to clean that up. Need a smaller freaking brush. Need a Yep. All right, we off with the cover. Damn dirt. Well, got out the next 10. Worst is to work on a rusty vehicle, bro. But it is what it is. Joint is rusty. Top of the screw is rusty as... Come on, lover. Look at that sucker. Look how rusty that sucker is. So when you're working on these joints, you gotta just freaking pray that these 10mm don't break the heck off. All right, so we only got 2, right? 2 10mm. One from down here, one from up here. That'll take off the neutral safety switch. So all right, get up some of the rust off of that bad boy. Let's go for the next one. All right. Sweet. Once we get them neutral switch, safety switch off, we're gonna clean up the base. Here goes the next 10mm. You could see all the rust, you could see all the salt. That's how important it is to wash your car once the snow has fallen, a few days after, to get all that off it. All right, so we got the tool out, and let's get this off. Look at the back of that bad boy. Look at that sucker. Now this is the replacement. That's how it's supposed to look. Alright, so we're gonna line them up. See what's the difference. Very close. It's the old one. It's the new one. Base of that joint. Let's see. All right, so with the neutral safety, right? With this switch, I don't know if you could see. So see, there's a notch right in there. I can clean it up a little. All right, so you see the notch is pointing. See a little groove right here. A little groove right here. Then the next groove is over here. Right? So they lines up. See? You gotta line up with one of these. These marking. Got 3 marking. 1, 2, 3. Right? So you gotta line up with one of those. So I'm gonna line it up with this one over here. Just like the one I took off. So I'm gonna find something. Do I have a feeler gauger? Of course not. Not in this toolbox. Don't have a feeler gauger. Oy, yo, smell. Clean that up a little bit. All right. All right, so we got it lined up, right? So we got to line up with this marking over here. So Let's sucker up. Tighten this 10 back down. So this slightly snug, right? That should be good right there. Right. All right. Ay. Let's see. All right. So it's in neutral, right? So the car should be able to start in neutral. So see, shows that's in neutral, right? In fact, let's put in, yeah, let's see. Start in neutral. Start in neutral, right? Put in park. Start in park also. All right. Should not start in reverse. Nothing. So before I switched it, right? You will go into the car and you will turn the key while it's in park. And this is that's what happened, right? That's what would happen. So the transmission is basically saying it's in reverse or drive because the car should not start in reverse or drive. So with a neutral safety switch, basically telling the transmission it's either in neutral or it's in park. That's the only two gears it's supposed to start in, right? So it doesn't start in reverse. It doesn't start in drive because it's not supposed to. If it start in neutral, if it start in reverse or start in drive, your neutral safety is bad. Your gear selector, whatever they want to call it, is bad, right? Something is up with the message that the transmission and the computer is reading. So let's put it back in park. Here's the next thing. So if your neutral safety switch have you stranded, right, on the gear selector right here, here's this piece right here. This is what I would have, because there's a few times that I'm on the street and I can't start the car. So you remove that right there. You remove this little piece right here. That will be covering it, right? And you will have, I will basically have this, right? Something sharp stick down to basically able to free up the gear selector, right? So you see right here how it's not able to move. That's what would happen to it. So you'll push this down in there and you see you're able to move the shifter. So you move it right there, pop it back, and it will start. That's what I had to do before I changed the neutral safety switch, right? So yeah, there we go. She's good to go. Back in business. Now we're gonna change, we're gonna clear our check engine light, right? I'm gonna change, clear the check engine light. If we could find this ODB2 scanner, which is somewhere back here. There we go. Shut up for now. All right, so we're gonna go underneath here and we're gonna plug it up into the ODB port. Can't find the hole. Don't you hate when this happens? I can't see anything underneath here. There you go. All right. So we found the hole. We found the hole. All right. So being that we found it, of course we gotta put the key in. All right. For them to basically start communicating. Right. Turn it to the on position. All right. So this is the emission check engine. You look at our scanner, right? Sucker is mad bright. All right, so it connected. Damn it, why so damn bright? All right, see? Damn, you can't even see it. Okay, there you go. All right, see, that's the code that was coming up for it. Transmission range sensor. So depending on your vehicle, it may say range sensor or it may say neutral safety. There's two different some people use to neutral safety, some people use right selector, depending on the company, make your vehicle, what have you. So right, we're gonna see what codes we got up in here. Right, so we're gonna erase them bad boys. And the computer just says it's good to go. Ready? Come on. There you go. Of course, I always say that. I always say that until you drive it a few for the computer to be ready. So if you have one of these ODB2 scanner, before you go do your check engine, before you go do your inspection, sometimes you may have a code that's hidden in the vehicle. So you might plug it up and see what's happening. I need to switch my fuel pump because this car was sitting and it had bad gas in it. So we had to siphon out the bad gas first and put fresh gas in it in order to start it. That's how I got it up and running. So that's what we did, siphon it out. And matter of fact, the pump is right over there, sitting. That's what I used to siphon out the gas out of it. Yeah, so replace the sensor. It starts. About to put the cover back on. And yeah, that's that. Right? So as I say, it supposed to start in park. Being that we have it jacked up still, we're gonna put our foot on the brake. Voila. Start up. Going reverse. Neutral. Drive. Manual. Drive. Neutral. And park. Shut that sucker off. Okay. So let's all right, so we got this sucker out. This is the old bad boy that we took out. All right. As it show you here, this have a notch in it. So the notch got to be lined up with this, that, right? Got to be lined up with one of these. So being that I took it off and the old one was lined up with this, I set the new one to line up with that joint straight across, right? But make sure it's in neutral. Make sure the car is in neutral when you're gonna do that. So the next thing we're gonna do on this car, it's this bad boy over here, the control arm. So I'm gonna have to spray that down. I'm gonna have to replace my torque impact ratchet. I'm gonna have to replace that because goddamn rust. Goddamn rust. So I'm gonna have to spray the hell out of that bad boy. All right. That what it be. And we're gonna have to work on getting out this damn screw. See the head of the screw? We're gonna have to work on getting out that. So that's the next. Should have a lock wrench that we should be able to play around with that. That's the love-hate that we got with cars. Where is it? Nowhere to be found. All right. Gonna need a smaller one for it. Able to grab it underneath. Well, fuck it for now. It's just the cover. Just this damn cover. That's all. That's all that was holding that sucker. So, a lot of cars running around with it. The cover missing. I gotta go to Harbor Freight, so we're going to slap this damn cover back on. 110mm is gonna be missing. And we'll live. Right? We'll live with 110mm. That's broken. And that's the piece that we always have to deal with once you got a rust bucket. Right? Once you run around in a rust bucket. It's one thing with cars, they put you in some compromising position to be working on these suckers. So we're gonna put this one. Oh, my boy JT, my bad. I told you I had to go deal with this, my guy. Got my nephew checking in on the live. What's up, JT? Mr. Gamer. Alright, so Thanks to my older brother, got me into this whole mechanic thing. And it helped me to, it saved me a lot of money over the years, right? Because I would have to bring this to a mechanic for him to do that. That's something I could do that I just did myself. And we just make these snug. We don't tighten them down. Like, see? That one that's missing, it's gonna have a shake, but fuck it. That's how it goes. Have a little vibration, but it's all good. That's what happened until we get that screw out down there, which one day I'll tackle it. Not today. Ain't happening today. I don't finish work to be done on this winter coming. Definitely need to change that out. I think I might just switch out this whole piece right here. Because, alright, so in your Hondas, Acuras, you have the upper control arm, right? This is the upper control arm right here. Shut up. So, upper control arm right here. You got your whole arm right here, right? So, you have a castle nut. This is what they call these. They call these castle nut right here. These nuts with a cotter pin. See the pin in it? That's a cotter pin. So you need to put that pin back in once you replace it, because if the nut backs out, that whole thing coming down. All right? This is a part of your whole suspension. So right here, this right here would be your inner tie rod up here, outer tie rod down here, because there's piece in between, right? And that will connect to your right here. Our control arm in the bottom down here. This is the whole right arm right here. I'm also damn up close with this damn thing. All right. This is your shock tower. That will connect up top up there. Right. So when this, you gotta examine it sometime if it's leaking, so you know your whole thing gotta be changed, right? And this is the fork, right? They call that the fork. So you see, you have a two side to it. That's your fork right there. Your axle, right? It's your axle right there coming out of your transmission. This is the transmission. This is the outer part of the transmission right here. All right. So the CV axle goes into it right there. CV axle goes right into it right there, and that's what sends your power, right? So if you got a diff, because one axle have the power, right? So if you put a diff in it, you'll have power going to both axles. So that's when you get more torque to the wheel. When you put a diff, if you hear a person say got a diff, a rear wheel will have a diff, of course, right? But the front, well, if you put a diff in it, some people, when they do like a performance, they upgrade their joint, you're gonna have a diff, right? So your CV axle comes out the transmission, goes into the spindle right here, right? At the end of it, you have an axle nut. This is the axle nut right here. So with the axle nut, once you take this off, you're gonna have to make an indentation. See an indentation right there? That indentation is to stop the nut from backing off, right? So in order to take that out, you would take off the axle nut right here, right? Take it out. You're gonna unloosen the outer tie rod. There's the lower ball joint down here. This is the lower ball joint right there. Hopefully you can see it. You're gonna take this out right here. Gonna take that out. right around here. There goes the screw right here. That's when you're going to take out, right? And once you pull that apart, you could separate the fork and pull it out. Take off the caliper right here. In order to take off your caliper, you'll need to loosen the 14mm right here, and there's one down there. Take off the bracket, the caliper bracket. In order to take off the caliper bracket, you got to loosen that right there, which is, I think these are 12 and these would be probably 17s. Don't quote me on it, you'd have to check. And that's how you take off that. Now once you take that off, you're going to take off your 10 right up here, and you're going to hang the whole caliper, because this is the brake line, right? This is going, that line right there is going up to your brake reservoir, or not the brake reservoir, but you will go to your whole ABS system. If you have an ABS running in a car, right? That will go all the way up there, and that's what was split into 4 from the ABS system. 2 will go to the back, right and left. 2 will go to the front, right and left. So yeah, so you'll take off this 10mm right here also. Bam, take off that. That will free up the brake hose right here, which you need to check your brake hose once in a while, because if you have a leak, you'll go out there to drive a vehicle without brakes, that will sucks. Yeah, that's how I basically take off to do this. To do the cross drill slotted, I basically take off the whole caliper. And the same thing if you're doing your brakes, right? If you want to replace your brake, simple. You would have to, you won't have to take off the bracket, right? You just have to take off the caliper. You loosen this nut down there, right? Loosen that one. Loosen this top one. This is the brake shoe right here. Brake shoe. You can see in between. Right? So that little thing over there, that's the caliper, the piston in the caliper. Right over there. So you'd have to compress that with a C-clamp in order to bring the caliper, to open the piston for the brake shoe to fit back in, because once the brake shoe wear down to a certain meat on it, the new brake shoe would not have enough space, so you'd have to push that back to get it to fit. Right? Let me see if I have a C-clamp for some people that never seen a C-clamp. C-clamp, C-clamp. The C-clamp is somewhere around here. Got a C-clamp somewhere around here. So for this tool right here, this tool you use your rear brake, your drum brake. This tool you use for your rear drum brake. Some people don't use these because, you know, they're skillful that they're not able to. So this you'll push into the back of it, you'll turn it and get the spring to fly over it. A lot of people hate hates drum brake. But hey, once you could do it yourself, that's the beauty. Beauty is to do it yourself. I've done a lot of things myself. This is an old bushing. This was from my Nissan Rogue, right? So you see how you have the sway bar bushing, right? See this bushing right here? It's that bushing right here. On the Rogue, it's this. That's the same bushing on the Rogue that I replaced. So after I replaced it, right? That is this. It goes over the control, over the sway bar bushing. the sway bar itself to keep it from shaking. So I'll replace that on my wife Rogue. This is a thermostat, old thermostat that was on my, if you look at my channel, you'll see the Toyota Corolla. I had to change this because the Corolla basically was overheating. And this is a thermostat, which you see the spring, it's the original. On the aftermarket ones, the springs are much tiny and flimsy. So you'll see a push, so the pressure of the antifreeze will push on it to open and close it, right? Yep. So that's the thermostat. How to change that right here. Ooh, almost lose a toe right there. Right here we got a old alternator, right? This is an old alternator that I replaced on the Corolla. Corolla was a 2010, so you know, this is the original. I think it was the original. Let me see if you have any Toyota marking to see if it was original or not. I doubt this was original. But if it was, some people rebuild these. You'll have some spots that rebuild these alternator. Nothing, to me, nothing is better than the original, right? So this is the alternator. So we had gone and junk a lot of replace parts that we have taken out of this vehicle. I gotta rearrange this little settings right here. Got antifreeze. Of course, you know your different antifreeze. Honda, Acura, Nissan, Infiniti. So your antifreeze will tell you what's a requirement, right? These are universal. This, Toyota, Kia, Lexus. Remember, Lexus and Toyota is the same, right? So a high-end Camry is basically a Lexus. So if you know your stuff, in order not to be paying too much, and you know what parts are interchangeable, you could get an Acura. You could get a Toyota Camry part that lines up and fit a Lexus, and the price is going to be different, right? This right here, this in this box, this is a drive shaft that either I rebuild it or I'm just gonna junk it for parts. Yep. Still got a few things to do in this place. I got these two I gotta rebuild. These two power washer. Gotta rebuild. Oh yeah. So this is what bring this car back to life, right? We had to get the old gas out of this. So this is what we used to get the old gas out of the system. This brought the car back to life because the person that basically was junking the car had bad gas. The car was sitting. That's why you see so much rust underneath the car. Car was sitting for too long, right? And that's what happened. Got my tool, Craftsman tool set over here. As I say, I need to set up this. I need to rearrange this whole thing. But we got some. I need to unplug this scanner right now. Let's see. Got a few things I need to change underneath this damn car. All right, so this is the famous K engine that they're talking about, right? K24. It's the K24, which you need a whole wash. That sucker need a wash. This is the famous K24 2.4. So remember the alternator I was showing you? This all alternator in the Acura. That's this right here. That's the Acura alternator. So this is the power switch, the ground. Sometime when your car is not, say if you do an engine swap and the ground is not plugged up right, your car ain't gonna start. So you need to have all the grounds properly grounded. I remember an old Acura, see, there's a body ground right here. Right here, that's a body ground. Car gotta be grounded. Although it's grounded over there with a battery, right? The body itself gotta be grounded. So if you look at an old Civic, the old Honda Accord, the ground usually be over here. So when we do a swap, like we'll swap the mounts, like these mounts, we'll swap it to the Hasport. The Hasports are a performance mount. Those are much more sturdy, right? These go bad on the K swap sometime, which you see mine is leaking a little bit. I've seen worse, thankfully. Got the sensors over here. Let's see, power steering reservoir. So where you see the power steering reservoir, the power steering is not too far. So see, comes all the way over to the power steering right here. Belt need to be changed. This is a serpentine belt. Serpentine belt is a belt that's only one belt, because you have cars that have multiple belts. So the serpentine basically goes down there to the, right down there to the compressor, AC compressor, right? You got the main pulley down there. You got the power steering up here. Alternator, so it wraps around from down there. It wraps around the AC compressor right here. It wraps around from there. You go across to the main pulley, come back on the back end to the. This is a that right here is a damn it. What is it called again? Yeah, it's, ooh, yeah. See, that's why you gotta examine your joint. There's a crack in my belt. There's a crack in my belt right there, so that means the belt need to be replaced soon. I'm gonna do that next. Yeah. So yeah, so this is your ABS system, right? This is your ABS system right here. This is your ABS system. So the system braking system, that's it right there. So you see how it have 4 coming out of it. So you're gonna have 1 going to the front left, 1 go to the front right, rear left, rear right. I don't know what's the order right here. I'd have to chase the lines, but basically 4 is for 4 wheel, because it's gonna go to all 4 wheel to send pressure to all 4 wheel, right? If you want to check your oil, that's the dipstick. All right, you pull it out and you examine. It's jacked up, so it's at the first notch, right? See at the first marking right here. So you would wipe it off, you'll reinsert it back into your engine, right? Then pull it back out to see where the oil marking is at. To check your transmission is down here, right? That's your transmission dipstick, which you pull it up, right? And you will check it. Transmission is usually a little red. See, look a little red. a red color. Yeah, so it's a little red. That's how you check your transmission oil. And don't listen to these manufacturers, right? And tell you that you're not supposed to change your transmission. The better, because remember, transmission oil, that's a life for your transmission, right? Oh, I hate this joint. Because that joint lines up a certain flipping way.